So, thank you once again for tuning in to Raising the Consciousness of Humanity podcast. My name is Ron Frost, and I'm super excited to be having this person on our podcast today. He's a dear friend of mine. His name is Dr. Harvey Kaltsas. He has got a very broad background in what I would say is holistic understanding of medicine, medical practices, and he's written a number of books and has, extensive background. So, what I'd love to do, Harvey, is if you could share a little bit about yourself, so the audience knows, who is Dr. Harvey Kaltsas?
Okay, sure. I grew up in Massachusetts. I went to Amherst College. I then went to Boston University School of Law for 6 weeks. I realized I did not want to become a lawyer. After that, I was more interested in natural law and natural phenomena and what creates health. I had friends come back from Vietnam who told me about how the Vietnamese use acupuncture and herbs to treat themselves when they get wounded. I said, wow, that's pretty interesting. And then I met a Japanese teacher in Boston in August 1970 and started studying acupuncture, macrobiotics, Chinese herbs, Japanese lifestyle. And my parents thought I was studying voodoo.
Yeah.
And in 1970, the idea of sticking needles into somebody for health purposes, nobody had heard of that, ever, in the United States. So I started studying with him. And then in 1971, James Reston, who was the senior editor of the New York Times, went to China along with Henry Kissinger in preparation for Nixon's trip to China. He had appendicitis. They removed his appendix and they used acupuncture for anesthesia and post-surgical care. He was thrilled about that. He wrote a big front page story about acupuncture on the front page of the New York Times. And then the United States was flooded with requests from people who've been trying everything and hadn't done anything to help themselves with regular medicine, and went to the 300 or so acupuncturists around the United States and flooded our offices with requests for help. And the AMA got very upset about this because they didn't like any therapy that was not based on pharmaceuticals or surgery to interfere with their business plan. And acupuncture is all about non-drug therapy, nutrition, energy work. So they convened all 50 boards of medical examiners, state boards of medical examiners, in July 1978 in San Francisco, California, along with the FDA. And at that meeting, the FDA declared that the use of acupuncture needles was not acceptable because the needles were only to be used as experimental devices in hospital research settings. And the AMA had all 50 boards of medical examiners declare that acupuncture in every state was the practice of medicine and a third-degree felony if you were doing it.
Oh, wow.
And even medical doctors weren't allowed to do it unless they were doing it in a hospital research setting, and there were none.
Yeah.
So acupuncture was outlawed in all 50 states, and if you practiced it, you were a third-degree felon.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, so I decided to leave the country.
Okay.
And I went to Canada, I took a course in Canada, and I stayed there for 5 years, and then they started changing the law state by state. And the reason they were changing the law state by state is because different politicians had personal experiences with acupuncturists. And Linda Ronstadt was sleeping with Jerry Brown at the time. They weren't sleeping in the governor's mansion because he didn't want to live there. He moved across the street to an apartment. She was his girlfriend. She had back pain. I suspect it was from some of the drug use she'd been doing with her wonderful musician friends. But anyway, she had back pain. She went to a Chinese acupuncturist. He fixed her back pain. She said to Jerry, these people are good people. They help me a lot. Do you think you could change the law? Bada bing, bada boom. They changed the law in California.
Oh, wow.
And at the end of 1975, December 28th, 1975, I went to apprentice with Dr. John Ho Fen Shen, who was one of the great Chinese acupuncturists of all time. He was a superior guy. His family was one of the 5 richest families in China before the revolution. He had a 300-bed hospital in Shanghai, and then he immigrated to Taiwan and then to the United States. And somehow he got a medical doctor to allow him to work in his office, and he treated the president of the Massachusetts Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives of Massachusetts. This was illegal at the time.
Okay.
But he helped both of them dramatically.
Yeah.
And they said, well, we're going to change the law. So we're going to make it so that you can work under a medical doctor in Massachusetts and be legal. So I started apprenticing with him, working under this medical doctor, and I did that for a year. And at the same time, they opened the New England School of Acupuncture in March 1st, 1976,
Yeah.
the first acupuncture school in the United States of America. And I took that course. So it was an interesting passage, and I've been practicing ever since. It's been really
Wow.
interesting. And when I was in Canada, I started an organic grain and vegetable farm and lived on that. I homesteaded that piece of land. And I was very interested in organic gardening. And J.R. Rodale, or J.I. Rodale, started Organic Gardening Magazine and Prevention Magazine, all about healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to see an interview with him in 1971 or 1972. He was on Dick Cavett, the
Mm-hmm.
Dick Cavett show. And Dick Cavett said, well, Mr. Rodale, you're doing everything you can to be healthy. You're eating organically. You're running Prevention Magazine. How long do you think you're going to live? So Rodale said, well, I'm 78 now. I think I'm going to live to be 100. Then the camera turned back to Dick Cavett, and he went like that. And then it turned back to Rodale, and Rodale was slumped in his chair. He was the first person to die on live television.
He did?
He had a massive heart attack right on the spot and died right on the spot.
Really?
He was 78 years old. I'm 78 years old. So
Yeah.
I don't want to make any arrogant, extravagant claims about alternative health care. Because you never know when your ticket's going to
Sure.
be punched. But you have to be humble about health care.
Yeah.
People can know a lot and still get sick and still die.
Yeah.
But if you know a lot, your chances of living a healthy lifestyle are better. Chances of living a longer are better. So
I agree. Yeah, and you personally helped me a while ago. I think it was I had some digestive issues, and you recommended a Chinese herb, and I found that it was almost like instantly, within a matter of taking that particular herb that you recommended, probably within a day or two or 3 days. It was pretty quick, and I found I prior to that had this issue going on. I've gone to other doctors. I had tests. Nothing really solved the problem, and what you did was something that I found, and you educated me too in the process. So you didn't just give me something; you kind of educated me. So I know you have a deep knowledge around herbs, around supplements, or I know they go by different names, minerals and things like that.
right.
And I guess the real reason for wanting to kind of pick your brain on a podcast today is recently there's been a change from the federal government level on what we would call, I guess, the food pyramid or the recommended dietary awareness. And so I know you've probably seen some of that too, and I kind of wanted to see your thoughts because, we used to hear these things like fat's bad for you, go on a low, everything was branded low fat, right? And so many other things that they talked about. What is your overview thought about some of these nutrition, dietary things that they're suggesting now?
Well, speaking from personal experience, in 1970 I became a total vegetarian. And for 7 years I followed a strict macrobiotic diet, mostly rice, vegetables, seaweed, a little fish. But I didn't even eat the fish. I just had 100% vegetarian diet, no butter, nothing from an animal except for honey from bees. That's the only contact I had with animal food at all. No milk, nothing like that. I did that for 7 years. I lost a lot of weight, but my energy was going down. And then I started apprenticing with Dr. Shen, and Dr. Shen had all these macrobiotics coming into the clinic who were sick. She says, Harvey, you got to broaden your diet. You got to eat more than just grains and vegetables and seaweed. I mean, beans, that's good, but that's a part of your diet. You got to expand your diet. So then I did, and I started getting healthier. I felt better. I was healthy, but I wasn't in prime condition.
Yeah.
So I ate a pretty broad diet for the next, 40 years. And then I started reading about how people eating a ketogenic diet or a more meat-based diet did better. And Jordan Peterson particularly influenced me. He's a psychologist from Canada, and he had severe food allergies, a lot of trouble with his digestive system, and a lot of other troubles. And he just went on a pure meat diet because he figured if he narrowed his diet down, he'd be able to eliminate all the other things that he was allergic to and get clear of food allergies. So he just went on pure meat, and he thrived on that. He did really, really well with that. And his daughter had a lot of allergies, was hospitalized, had a lot of serious illnesses. She just went on a pure meat diet, and she did really well with that. And then I read about a doctor from the leading mental health clinic in Boston recommending a pure meat diet for his psychotic patients, and they got better.
Oh, wow.
So it made me think, well, maybe there's something to that, but I don't like extreme anything.
Yeah.
So I changed my diet, which had been like 90% vegetable, 10% animal, to be about 50% animal and 50% vegetable and other things.
Okay.
And the thing about animal foods, it depends on what the source is. I worked for my dad's egg farm for a while.
Yeah.
We had 110,000 laying chickens. They were all in little cages. It was a horrible experience for the chickens. And it wasn't a healthy environment. They were in a little box. It was insanely criminal. So I wouldn't eat those eggs ever because I knew they weren't healthy.
Sure.
And I don't like the grain-fed cattle. You know, cattle aren't supposed to be in a closed pen eating wheat and barley and corn and sorghum and other things like that. They're supposed to be free-ranging where they can eat maybe 70 different types of grass and weeds and bugs and all sorts of things when they're out on the range, and get a wide assortment of food so that their body becomes comprised of all those minerals and nutrients they get from a wide range of sources. So grass-fed beef or grass-fed lamb or grass-fed pork is a whole lot better than something from a feedlot where they're just getting a very limited supply of grains and beans and things that the farmers produce for them. And when you think about it, you really want a really broad spectrum of food. If you're a vegetarian, you want a wide array of vegetables and nutrients and fruits and such. And when you're an animal, you want a broad array too, and you get that when you're free range raising.
Okay.
So if you're eating feedlot beef, you're going to get very inflammatory beef. The fats in feedlot beef are high in omega-6 fatty acid, where really you want omega-3 fatty acids, which are non-inflammatory but provide a healthy fat.
Yeah.
So if you get free-range beef or free-range pork or free-range lamb or other animals, you're going to get a much healthier meat, and you'll be much healthier eating it.
Okay.
But if you're eating McDonald's hamburger that's been from feedlot-raised beef, it's not so healthy for you.
Yeah, and I got two questions just from what you just shared. One is, because of the chemicalization going on in farming, pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, and that gets into our food, if a feedlot cattle were consuming, obviously, stuff that's produced in a farming manner that's using chemicalization, versus, I think if they were just raised grass-fed, and they're just on the range eating, maybe sometimes they're eating the dandelion, sometimes they're eating grass. From a farming background that I have, we never sprayed those lots.
Right.
Because those were grazing lots. They were not products of what we would call, they weren't crop grown lots.
Right.
So
you didn't care if it had weeds on it.
Yeah, so that would mean that the animal probably wasn't ingesting what we would maybe ingest when we eat some of the foods that are grown in agricultural, like plant-based foods that are mass produced, not so much a garden in the backyard. But the other thing that kind of came up, I'll let you comment on that, but the other thing that kind of came up was, I have a friend who's gone back and forth between vegetarian and adding more meat into it, because he's had some health issues that happened over the long term of kind of like you said, he went to an extreme. And one of the things he shared with me, and he's very empathic. He's a person that picks up energy. He says, Ron, he goes, I can sense when an animal's been mistreated, and I'm consuming that me, whether it's their life, or whether maybe it's the way they were slaughtered or whatever. And he goes, I feel that energy, and so I know back in time, even Indians used to pray over a sacrifice of a deer or whatever. And I know we can consciously pray over a meal, give grace, right?
Right.
My thought is, if you can comment a little bit about the grazing in a natural environment, and also the treating of the animal.
Well, look at it this way. You're not in prison. You're walking
Yeah.
around. You're having a happy life. You're doing
Yeah,
this. You're
yeah.
doing that. You're a happier person.
Yeah,
If you were in prison and getting, food slipped to you on a tray or something, you wouldn't be so happy.
mm.
So imagine a cow free ranging, grazing, having a good time outdoors,
Yeah,
or a cow in a feedlot where he's just eating out of a trough. It's like in prison for him.
yeah,
It's a whole different attitude toward life.
mm.
And then there's more fear in that environment. And then there's chemicals introduced into her system. It's not so good.
Yeah,
So if you have happy animals, you're going to have better quality food.
that makes sense.
And by the way, when I say meat, I'm talking about, I also include dairy products and eggs in that too.
And fish, probably.
And fish as
Yeah.
well. So all those, the more free range they are, the better. I basically buy free range eggs. I don't ever buy non-free range eggs now.
Yeah,
They're just much healthier for you
yeah.
for a lot of reasons.
'Cause-
Same with the fish. Tilapia is one thing I'll never eat.
oh, really?
Because
Okay.
most of the tilapia comes from Asia, and it's in farm environments, and there's a lot of pollutants in that water, and you just want to avoid Asian tilapia. So, but a lot of the fish is very good. A lot of the Atlantic farm salmon, they're farming it in Nova Scotia
Okay.
or Norway or someplace, and it's cold water, it's decent. But
Yeah.
I think you're mostly free range stuff.
But for the I guess from broader perspective, the happier the environment that the animal,
Exactly.
fish, chicken, everything that they produce, whether it's a cow producing milk, whether it's a chicken laying
Right.
eggs, it's going to be better because they themselves were taken care of in a
That's
better
right.
situation.
Yeah, exactly. They're both better cared for, treated more humanely. I was so traumatized watching these chickens who I was caring for every day. 110,000 chickens.
Yeah,
It was just not fair. It
Yeah.
wasn't kind. And
Yeah.
that's when I forswore eggs for 40 years, because there weren't a lot of free range eggs around in
yeah,
stores and such. So,
yeah. Interesting. My 4-H project when I was a kid was raising chickens.
oh, good.
Yeah, but I only had like 12, I think Rhode Island Reds, and then I got
Yeah.
like 10 more Leghorns later. So I had both the white egg and then the brown egg. But yeah, those today you don't see that anymore. You see, well, maybe more so now that people are becoming aware of it. But most of the commercialized farming is, I mean, for a chicken, it's really not a life. It's a
It's
sad
not
life.
Yeah. And you can get good quality eggs. They're not that expensive.
Yeah.
Basically, it's less than $1 an egg.
Yeah.
It's not that much.
Yeah. Well, what about fats? So fats, I know, are just a
Oh, yeah.
confusing topic.
Oh, I'd love to get into that topic.
Yeah, tell me
Well,
what
first, a lot of the oils, like canola oil, is really poisonous.
is it?
It creates a trans fat that doesn't get absorbed into the interior of the cell, but coats the exterior of cells. So nutrients have a harder time passing through the cell wall into the inside of the cell, where the mitochondria can start producing ADP, or electrical energy, from the food that takes in. But you wind up getting more diabetes because the canola oil, soybean oil, corn oil, they're not healthy fats, and they coat the outside walls of the cells and don't allow for proper metabolism of the cell.
Okay.
Whereas olive oil and coconut oil are very, very healthy vegetable quality oils.
Yeah.
and do promote proper digestion of the food. And, the fats from animals.
Yeah.
The omega-3 fatty acids and omega-9 fatty acids from healthy animals are good, whereas the omega-6 fatty acids from the feedlot animals aren't so good.
Aren't so good. Okay. So with the awareness around what's a good fat and what's not a good fat, so you said canola oil, corn oil, soybean oil.
And by the way, if you go into the grocery store, I pretty much avoid most of the manufactured foods.
Okay.
If it's a processed food with a lot of synthetic ingredients, if it doesn't have 2 or 3 ingredients, I understand, I avoid it.
Yeah.
And if you look at these labels, most of them have synthetic fats, or like trans fats in them. Canola oil, soybean oil, sunflower oil,
Cottonseed oil.
cottonseed oil. You shouldn't be eating those oils. And they're in most of the processed foods.
Like potato chips and stuff.
Potato chips. It's very hard to find potato chips without that type of fat in it.
Yeah.
Very hard. Corn chips, same thing.
Yeah.
It's very rare. Occasionally I see them with avocado oil. That's another good oil.
That's not
Avocado oil is great.
Yeah.
Avocados are great.
Yeah.
You want a healthy fat, eat avocados.
Yeah. Nice.
So oils are really a big deal. And Bobby Kennedy's fantastic for what he's doing to educate people to avoid seed oils, go for olive oil, coconut oil, and fats from healthy animals.
Okay, so it's not just a matter of which oil do you buy, it's looking at the product and the ingredient within the product. And like you said, the vast majority of packaged items probably do have the oils that are not probably good for you.
Right.
Unless you're buying it at a health store, and even then it's probably, if it's packaged,
Most packaged foods have the wrong type of oil.
Really?
And it reduces your energy level overall.
Yeah.
When your energy level gets low, and I'm talking about electrical energy, the electrical energy in the body.
Yeah.
When it's less than 20 millivolts, you're much more likely to get cancer. When it's more than 20 millivolts, you're much healthier.
Really?
Yeah. So the foods can lower your energy level.
So there's an electrical connection to
right.
disease.
Exactly. And carbonated water is a big factor too. Carbonated water reduces your electrical charge.
Really?
There's a great book called Healing is Voltage
Okay.
by Jerry Tennant, who is one of the guys who developed cataract surgery.
Yeah.
He's an ophthalmologist. Great book. Healing is Voltage. I highly recommend the book.
So carbonated water is not good.
Carbonated water is not good, and some people I really care for it drink it all the time, and they won't listen to me. So.
Okay.
And the carbonated drinks like Pepsi, Coca-Cola, things like that. I don't want to get sued for saying this.
Yeah.
They're just not healthy drinks. They're not good for you.
Yeah.
But having said that, that's a minor issue compared to the bigger issue of chlorinated water and fluoridated water.
Yep.
Most of the water we drink in America is chlorinated.
Mm-hmm.
There's a book...
Tap water.
Tap water. There's a book written 50 years ago that I read called Chlorine, Cholesterol, and... I forget the name of it, actually. It's all about how when you drink chlorinated water, it creates harmful cholesterol and coronary disease.
Mm.
And they did studies with chickens. They fed chickens chlorinated water and non-chlorinated water. The chlorinated water chickens got heart disease. The unchlorinated water chickens didn't. So it's one of the main causes of heart disease.
Really?
Is drinking chlorinated water. And it's so simple to filter out chlorinated water with a charcoal filter.
Yeah.
So I always have filtered water.
I found a filter that I use that filters out chlorine.
Yeah.
And fluoride. Yeah.
Now fluoride's another story. I grew up in Worcester, Massachusetts. It's one of the few places that never had fluoridated water because the John Birch Society had a member. They were all against fluoridated water. I thought it was a communist conspiracy. Maybe it was. But for sure, fluoride in the water, it helps your teeth, but it calcifies your pineal gland.
Mm.
The pineal gland receives vibrations from the universe, particularly light, and it then sends messages to the endocrine system, the pituitary gland and all the other ductless glands, the adrenal gland, the thyroid, and the pancreas, the ovaries, the testes, to produce the proper hormones for the body.
Mm.
But when the pineal gland gets exposed to fluoride, the fluoride causes calcification around the pineal gland, so it can't absorb these subtle electromagnetic vibrations from the universe,
Okay.
and you lose your psychic abilities.
Mm.
Your endocrine system suffers as well.
So your intuitiveness kind of is flatlined.
Right. So anyways, fortunately the John Birch Society had an effect in my town because the head of the newspaper was a member of the John Birch Society. And he said, oh, we're not going to have fluoride in our water in this town.
Yeah.
So they never got into my hometown. So I grew up without fluoridated water.
Nice.
Which allowed me to maintain my spiritual sense in a way that many people didn't.
Yeah.
So
for somebody out there, I know there's probably, I know I found mine on Amazon, but I'm sure there's other places, but I distinctly searched for fluoride, chlorine, and a filter that would filter that out of water.
Yeah.
And I also got a test kit just to make sure that the filter was working.
Oh, good.
So I knew that the water I was drinking didn't have, some of these chemicals in there.
Okay.
But I think that would be a good, for anybody listening, if that's a concern, that would be definitely a good thing to do, or maybe you might have other.
No, I definitely recommend that. I recommend avoiding fluoride toothpaste.
Yeah, me too.
And
yeah.
And having said all that, you can avoid fluoride, avoid the chlorine, avoid the trans fatty fat oils, all that stuff, and still take your daily consumption of sugar, white sugar,
Okay.
and get sick.
And so, sugar.
Sugar should be avoided, and I have to admit to my one minor addiction. I don't smoke, I don't drink,
Yeah.
I don't do drugs at all, but I do have an occasional chocolate or some sweet. And it's all a question of the amount you consume.
Sure.
If you're eating a lot of foods that have sugar in them, it's not like you're taking a teaspoon out of the sugar bowl. No, it's already in the food. You have to be really careful about the processed food because it has so much sugar in it.
Yeah.
And you want to avoid the sweets too, but occasionally an ice cream cone is not going to kill you. But if you're living on high sugar foods, you're dying on high sugar foods.
Okay.
So all the other stuff that I said about the type of fat, the animal food, all that stuff, that all gets neutralized if you take too much sugar. So.
And there's a lot of
sugar.
Yeah, there's a lot of sugar in a lot of products. I mean, I know even myself, when I've gone out cycling, I go to a gas station, which is probably not the best place, but it's the only place like I gotta go in and grab something quick.
Right.
And I look at all these energy drinks, and I look at and the number one thing in so many of these products is sugar.
Yeah.
Or high fructose corn syrup, which is probably a worse.
It's probably worse. Exactly.
And then there's probably products that I would say maybe starches or whatever that create you create sugar. I mean, they break down sugar pretty quickly.
Especially fruit juices. Fruit juices are
really
concentrated. It's great to eat an orange. Oranges are great. Orange juice, you take 10 oranges and squeeze it into one little thing.
Yeah.
You're getting a very concentrated sugar.
Really?
So.
Okay.
You want to go sparing on the juices.
So all like apple juice or probably the same thing.
All that stuff.
So if you're eating the apple or eating the orange,
you get all these buffering mechanisms, all these other minerals and other nutrients that make the sugar, the fruit sugar, more assimilable and in a healthy balance. You're not getting that much.
Okay.
But if you just refine it to the juice, you're getting a much, much higher level of sugar.
So when you're thirsty, just water.
Basically water, and there are a bunch of good teas too.
Okay.
Yeah. And that brings up the subject of caffeine.
Yep.
Caffeine can be very healthy for people, or people can take too much caffeine.
Mm.
And I know the Mormons and the Seventh-day Adventists are the two religious groups that live the longest in America, and they both avoid caffeine.
Really?
But the Mormons eat meat, and the Seventh-day Adventists don't.
Yeah.
But they both live longer than most Americans, and they do avoid caffeine. And I stopped pretty much avoiding caffeine since 1970.
Okay.
I do have it occasionally, once in a while. Well, I have it when I eat chocolate.
Yeah.
But basically I avoid caffeine. But there are many teas that are non-caffeinated. there's non-caffeinated coffee, but people drink coffee in the morning because they're addicted to coffee, to the caffeine.
We're a very caffeinated society.
Very.
It's been, for me, I still drink the morning cup,
Yeah.
but I don't drink the afternoon. I don't drink the evening.
Yeah.
I don't drink like, I cut back to like just the one cup in the morning.
There's a lot of research showing that it's very good for brain health and good for heart health.
Okay.
So it's not like the ultimate evil to
Yeah.
drink coffee. A lot of cultures thrive because they're drinking coffee. But I feel better not having to have something in my system every day.
Yeah.
I don't want to have my cup of coffee. But,
Yeah.
so I avoid that.
So, these are all
but
good.
let me take a step back.
Yeah.
But these 5-hour energy drinks,
Yeah.
they're so packed with caffeine. You're getting a real jolt of caffeine. That's not so good for your heart.
Caffeine, sugar, thing. Yeah.
Everything in moderation. A cup of coffee is one thing. 5 cups of coffee, you're
Yeah.
over the top.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, we've talked on a few different topics. Coming back to those guidelines, and I think, well, I know another one I want to talk about because I've had some confusion around this and kind of wanted to hear what your thoughts were. I was diagnosed with high blood pressure. This is like a number of years ago. One of the key things was I had to stay away from salt, like to remove as much salt out of my diet. Today, if I take like a Himalayan sea salt or a Celtic sea salt or whatever, I don't really have, I still have the thing to put on my arm to check my own blood pressure.
Yeah.
I don't get affected by those, and actually I find that because I work out in a gym, because I ride my bike, I almost need a certain level. It's like my body needs a certain level of salt anyways.
I'm glad you brought this subject
Yeah,
up.
so share
First of all,
about.
the Himalayan salt, this Celtic salt and such, they're not refined,
Yeah,
and they often have heavy metal contaminants.
okay.
So I don't like those.
Oh, which ones would you recommend?
I recommend straight out Morton's sea salt.
Morton sea salt.
Most commercial table salt is sea salt.
Okay,
They dry it in these big flats in
Yeah.
the Caribbean and Mediterranean and such. So they put a little anti-caking agent, which is not bad, but your cheapest salt you get at the grocery store is the regular table salt,
yeah.
and that's decent. I recommend that.
Go ahead.
You go ahead.
No, so
Well, I will say one more
Yeah.
thing. But with high blood pressure, it's so easy to treat it by taking nitric oxide
okay.
that you get from beetroot. It's not expensive. It's very healthy because if your nitric oxide level is low, then your capillaries start tightening up.
Yeah.
The capillaries are about 4 microns in diameter. The red blood cells are 7 microns in diameter. So red blood cell is bigger than the passageway through which it has to flow.
Okay.
But they fold over on themselves and they go single file through the capillaries. But when the capillary sphincters are tight, it's hard
Yeah.
for the blood to go through. And what makes the capillary sphincter tight is a lack of nitric oxide. The more nitric oxide you have in your body, the looser your capillaries are,
Okay.
the more dilated they are. And you get that from beetroot powder.
Oh,
So,
okay.
I recommend it
Beet-
for all my patients.
Beetroot powder. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to.
And beets,
And beets.
yeah, or beetroot powder.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that because honestly, I thought what I was looking at was just the results that I was getting from taking my own sampling
Yeah.
blood pressure, and I was realizing that common table salt was elevating my blood pressure.
Yeah.
Where some of these other salts, which I didn't know about, but for
Well,
some reason
Maybe they don't have as much sodium in it.
they don't. Yeah, I think they have like other things like magnesium and potassium. That's in those too.
You can take potassium salts.
Yeah.
They have Morton potassium salt,
Okay.
which is potash, basically.
Yeah,
Potassium chloride.
potassium chloride. Okay.
And when I was in Canada, I needed a job. I worked in a potash mine, 3,200 feet underground,
Oh wow.
mining potassium chloride.
Yeah.
And it's one of the few mining operations you can do and actually get healthier.
Yeah.
Because you breathe in potassium dust and it lowers your blood pressure.
Oh, wow.
It's an antagonist to sodium, so
Yeah, the sodium potassium
yeah,
pump.
balance,
Yeah, yeah.
So it was an interesting 3,200 feet underground. It was an amazing experience.
So maybe that was the secret. I wasn't getting as much potassium.
Yeah, you needed more potassium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a question also around iodine, because sometimes you see iodized salt, and sometimes you don't, and then you hear it's good or it's bad.
I'd love to talk about the subject of
yeah.
iodine. First, Japanese women and Chinese women eat a lot more seaweed.
Okay.
The Japanese women have, on average, 12 milligrams of iodine a day in their diet, in the form of basically potassium iodide. American women have, on average, 320 micrograms of iodine in their diet a day.
Mm.
Japanese women have almost no breast cancer. American women, 1 out of every 8 American women get breast cancer. The reason American women get breast cancer is because they're lacking iodine, basically.
Mm.
So if you take more iodine, you reduce your chance of breast cancer dramatically. There's been a lot of studies done about this. But you only get a tiny bit of iodine in table salt. Not nearly enough to prevent breast cancer. So unless you're eating seaweed as part of your diet regularly.
Or you supplement it.
Or you supplement it. And it's so easy to supplement. One of the supplements is called iodoral, Iodoral, iodoral. And the best way to supplement that is to take 50 milligrams a day for 3 months.
Okay.
To build your body level up, and then take 12 milligrams a day forever after that.
I see.
Unless you're hyperthyroid, you're doing well by taking iodine. Women really should take it. It's one of the best things also for fibrocystic breast disease. So women get these lumps in their breasts, and the breasts are hard and it's painful and everything. I tell my women patients who have this to take iodine. 3 months, it's all gone. It's all cleared up.
Oh, nice.
So,
yeah, these are some health secrets you don't normally hear.
No, and in Asia they understand these things. That's another frustration I have with American medicine.
Yeah.
The medical schools are so dominated by the pharmaceutical industry that I think 70 or 80% of Americans are on some pharmaceutical drug.
Yeah.
When you can eat the right food, do the proper nutrition, do the right exercise, do the right spiritual practice, and avoid the need for most drugs. And then there are a whole bunch of Chinese or Japanese herbal remedies to treat all sorts of other things.
Okay.
And Indian too, Ayurvedic medicine too. You were in India recently on a bike trip. And the Indians, they didn't suffer from COVID hardly at all.
Yeah, I found my diet there, first of all, I was in an area which is pretty much mostly vegetarian.
Yeah.
So everything I ate was vegetarian. And oddly, years ago, I think I may have shared with you, I went very strict in the vegetarian diet. I felt great, at the beginning. I was working out at the gym. I was still just as strong as ever.
Yeah.
But as time went on, I think I did the same thing you shared, was I went too extreme. Maybe I wasn't getting the certain nutrients, and I started having some issue. I didn't know it had anything to do with my diet.
Right.
Honestly. Then I realized later that once I had to bring my diet back into balance, introducing meat, fish, and things like that, I did regain my health. When I was in India, of course, for 2 weeks, I ate strict vegetarian diet. And a lot of, what do you call it, dal, the lentil soup that they have.
I love that.
Yeah, I love it too. And the, what do you call it, naan, the breads and things like that.
It's a non-yeasted bread.
Yeah, and I have an issue with gluten, but I had no issue at all with any of the breads that they had there. I don't know why, but
probably it's the wheat that they're using to make the bread.
Okay.
Some wheats are high gluten, some wheats are low gluten.
Ah, okay. Yeah, and everything's farmed like right there. It's not like it's shipped through trucks to grocery stores. They don't really have that type of system. It's farmed locally. And yeah, I guess a question I've had is, we're all different, right? You've seen so many patients.
Right.
Is there a one-size-fits-all when it comes to dietary?
No, there isn't.
Okay.
And there's some research shows that the blood type dictates what type of food is better for you.
Okay.
and also your, ethnic history. So,
Yeah.
I know a lot of African Americans suffer from sickle cell anemia. I was born with sickle cell anemia,
Mm-hmm.
and I struggled for a long time to try to figure out how to get my blood so I wasn't anemic. And I did some research. I found out that butyrate is basically the cure for sickle cell anemia.
What's butyrate?
Butyrate is an amino acid complex that ultimately you get best from butter.
Okay.
Butter
Butter.
is where we get the word butyrate from.
Okay.
Butter is very high in butyrates. So people who have sickle cell anemia should be eating more butter.
Butter.
But a lot of the Africans have lactose intolerance. So they avoid butters, when butters actually be good for them. And in India, what they do is they make ghee.
Yes. Ghee,
And
we had ghee on everything.
They purify the butter.
Yeah.
So it's a good source of butyrate.
Okay.
So for example, some Africans don't do well with milk at all. So they need lactose-free beverages. And, my family was Greek, so we had a lot of lentils in our diet, which is the source of iron we had.
Yeah.
And other proteins. And you can mix beans and grains and get a complementary protein, get a full protein, but you might be lacking in vitamin B12. And usually you need that from an animal source. You'll get that from eggs, you'll get that from meat.
Okay.
So
Could you supplement that, or is it not the same as take?
it's better to eat it. You can
Okay.
supplement it, but it's much better to get a B12 shot than supplement it.
Okay.
Or it's better to get it from the animal food on a regular basis.
Why the shot over the supplement? Is there?
It's much harder to absorb it through the mouth.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that.
But if you're taking foods that have B12 in them, like eggs regularly, build up in your system, you'll be fine.
Okay.
So,
Well, another topic that maybe you can shed some light on, and no pun intended, is the
Okay.
sun. So
oh yeah.
you hear two sides. You hear there's vitamin D that you absorb from the sun, but then you also hear the other side. Don't stay out. You can get skin cancer. Don't stay out too long in the sun, and so you get this fear around it, and then you got the good qualities around it. What are your thoughts around sunlight?
Well, I'm going to see my dermatologist in 2 months. She likes me. I don't want to get her upset. And she's always telling me to put skin cream on, and she's always complimenting me for what fabulous skin I have. I don't say this to most patients. You have beautiful skin. You take really good care of your skin. I'm really proud of you. You don't have any skin cancer or anything. I don't tell her I don't put skin lotion on.
Okay.
But I do cover myself up pretty much. I'm out to sea many days a month, many days a year. I get a lot of sunlight, but I do put little zinc oxide on there.
Yeah.
There's different types of sun creams, and I like zinc oxide the best.
Sure.
But the sunlight is good and it's important for you.
Mm.
And a big issue is sunglasses.
Mm.
Because when you put sunglasses on, you're not getting all the spectrum of light into your eye.
Yeah.
And your body's saying, well, it's nighttime, okay, so I don't have to produce any melanin.
Yeah.
Melanin is the hormone that blocks the light from penetrating too deep into the skin. Black people grow up in Africa, too much sunlight, way too much sunlight, so their skin is darker.
Yeah.
To protect them. And their hair is bigger, afros, so you don't get that much sunlight into your body. It's all a question of making balance.
Yeah.
But when you wear the sunglasses, you're not getting the light stimulation that makes your body produce melanin, so you're more likely to get too much sun penetration.
Mm.
So, natural sun blocker is melanin.
Yeah.
And you're not getting it when you wear the glasses or when you're putting on too much sunscreen.
Okay.
So I think it's good to get sunlight. You definitely need sunlight to make vitamin D. Vitamin D is really crucial. And you can't get enough vitamin D if you're living north of Atlanta from November to April.
Oh,
you
really?
can't be, if you're naked in Atlanta from November to January, you're going to freeze to death. November to April, you'll freeze to death. Yeah, but you're also not getting enough vitamin D because the angle of incidence of the sun rays is too low to penetrate into your body to produce enough vitamin D. In Florida, we can get vitamin D all year long because we're south enough. But up north, you definitely need an external source of vitamin D. You need a supplement.
Supplement. Okay. Or move to Florida.
or move to Florida.
Yeah.
But in Florida, you need to get outdoors and have it hit your body.
Yeah.
And not just your face.
Yeah.
And people aren't taking their shirts off too much in public, so you need,
Yeah.
often you need a tough supplement.
And then, so were there any other topics that you wanted to share upon? I know we covered quite a bit.
Yeah, well, there are some very good roles for Western medicine. When I became a macrobiotic, just eating organic grains and vegetables, which I did for decades, even though I shifted my type of eating, I still try to eat organic. You can pick up worms that way. And I was in a community of about 2,000 people studying Japanese medicine. Almost everybody had worms.
Okay.
But there are Chinese and Japanese herbal medicines to treat that type of thing.
Okay.
So I and most of the other 2,000 people I knew who were studying the same stuff, we all had worms, and we took all the herbal remedies we could to get rid of the worms, and we still had worms.
Really?
Yeah. So then eventually I got fed up with the whole ordeal of having worms.
Yeah.
And I took Park Davis's drug called Provinium Palmate, and it cost like $10. It's over the counter at Walgreens. They were done.
Gone.
It was gone.
And what's that called again? Park Davis's?
Provinium Palmate.
Okay.
But there are many different types of things that
Yeah.
Walgreens or CVS for pinworms, for example.
Okay.
And ivermectin is great for treating
yeah.
various types of parasites. Very, very effective. Very effective. And
Yeah.
saves a lot of lives. And now there's studies that ivermectin is useful for treating cancers as well as COVID.
Okay.
And I've had people scream at me
Yeah.
for saying people should take ivermectin for non-parasitic applications. I've had medical doctor friends of mine insist that I never be allowed to speak in public again
Really?
for suggesting that people should take ivermectin.
Wow.
Scream at me in public forums.
But it used to be, I think, a very popular.
Very popular and very safe. Very, very, very safe.
I've taken it, so I know it's been safe for me.
I know.
Yeah.
But if you go against medical orthodoxy, you can lose friends.
Okay.
I mean, you may still like them, but they won't like you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a lot. I mean, so, yeah, and in general, because I know you see a lot of people, is there anything like, is there, I guess, recommending health practice like a detox or certain things that would be?
Well, we do get a lot of heavy metals in our
We do.
environment. And zeolite is a good way.
Zeolite, I heard that.
Zeolite and humic acid.
Okay.
Both are very good to strip the heavy metals out of your body.
Okay.
You do it slowly, and of course 3 to 6 months you'll clean your body from heavy metals,
Okay.
which is good.
And what's the benefit of that? Mental clarity or what?
Oh yeah, very much mental clarity, but overall health. Heavy metals aren't good for you.
Okay.
Arsenic, mercury,
Zeolite.
a lot of things. Lead. Which brings up the subject of heavy metals in Chinese herbal medicine. I love China. I love the Chinese people. I love Chinese history. I love Chinese culture. I love Chinese food. I just love China. But in the last 60, 70 years, the Chinese Communist Party has really emphasized industrialization. They put into place some practices where a lot of the farmers were displaced from their farms, moved into cities, into factories. They produce a lot of harmful chemicals that went into the soil. So a lot of the Chinese soil is now contaminated.
Oh, really?
So when you buy Chinese herbal products from China, they can be heavily contaminated. And the state of California did an analysis of 300 Chinese herbal remedies that they bought in herbal stores in Chinatown in San Francisco. 300 of them. And 160 of them were severely contaminated with heavy metals.
Okay.
And when I say severely contaminated, the FDA will allow like 3 or 4 parts per million of lead in a food product. And they'll say, okay, 3 parts per million, you can eat that. 4 parts, that's too much.
Too much. Okay.
Some of these Chinese herbal products would have 30,000 parts per million.
Yeah.
40,000 parts per million.
Yeah.
Arsenic. 4% arsenic. It's insane.
Yeah.
it's poisoning you. You're killing yourself. You're creating kidney disease.
Yeah.
You're creating cancers, all sorts of things. Taking an herbal product, oh, this is going to be good for me. This is organic. This is natural. Yeah, it's natural, but it's been contaminated because the ground it's grown in has been poisoned because of Chinese industrial policy. So I'm not a big fan of the Chinese Communist Party.
Okay.
I'm not a fan of industrial waste contaminating farmland.
Yeah.
Which brings up my sorest point of all. In 1926, General Motors asked the oil companies to start putting tetraethyl lead into the gasoline because it made gasoline motors work better. Get rid of the knock.
Okay.
The anti-knock compound. So from 1926 to 1986, almost all the gasoline in the United States, except for Amoco, contained tetraethyl lead.
Mm.
It helped the motors, but it puts hundreds of thousands of tons of lead into the atmosphere in America, especially in the inner cities, because that's where most of the cars went. So the soil in the inner cities got coated with lead. The white population started moving out of the inner cities into the suburbs after World War II. Black people moved up from the south into the inner cities, into heavily contaminated environments where there was a lot of lead paint, a lot of lead piping, because in the 1910, 1920, there was a lot of lead piping put in the inner cities. They didn't put lead pipes into the suburbs. They didn't put lead paint into the suburbs. These were things that we've done in the 10s, 20s, 30s, 40s. And then the cars concentrated in the inner cities in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. So the inner cities became really toxic lead dumps. And the black people who moved up from the south living in these cities got lead poisoning.
Yeah.
And this happened all around the world, because all around the world we were using lead gasoline. But in 1986, finally scientists realized, this is killing people. We got to cut back. So the EPA, our Environmental Protection Agency, put in measures to eliminate lead from gasoline. So over the next 20 years, the crime rates in the United States dropped dramatically from 1986 to 2006. And the main reason why the crime rates dropped wasn't because we had more police on the streets, wasn't because of more policing policies. It's because there wasn't as much lead in the environment, especially in the environment of pregnant women and in the brains of young kids.
Oh, wow.
So, but it's still in the soil. So there's still a lot of lead contamination in inner cities, and especially in the black population. So you look at Chicago, which has the most lead poisoning in the country. They have the most lead piping, most lead paint, and the most lead in the soil. And they have 3, 4, 5, 10 kids a week killing themselves.
That's too bad, yeah.
These kids are lead poisoned because of industrial policy that was criminal. They've been poisoned, and they're shooting other people, and now they're criminalized, and then they're put in jail. They have a medical problem, lead poisoning, and it would cost about $10 billion a year for 10 years, $100 billion, to clean almost all the lead out of all the cities in America, and we could have healthy kids. So I really recommend that. And lead has been taken out of the gasoline around the world. So it wasn't just in America that from 1986 to 2006 crime levels dropped. All around the world crime levels dropped, except in 3 countries that continue to use lead in the gasoline. Yemen, which is, those people are insane. Iraq, those people are insane. And Algeria. 3 crazy countries because they're lead poisoned.
Interesting. So I guess the question I would have, if you were from one of these areas, inner city or one of these other countries or whatever, if you thought, oh, maybe I am in an area, maybe I've absorbed lead into my system.
Yeah.
The product you mentioned earlier, zeolite.
Zeolite and or humic acid.
Okay.
Which they're both available from health food stores.
Humic, like HU?
MIC.
Okay.
And you can get those products, and that's very good. But the medical intervention is to get EDTA therapy. EDTA.
Okay.
I can't tell you what the chemical name is. I forget it.
Yeah.
I forget the actual
but
chemical
that's
name.
good too?
EDTA.
That's helpful.
You take it intravenously for about 10 weeks, 15 weeks, once a week. It leaches all the heavy metals on your body, especially lead.
Okay.
And every medical doctor knows about this. It's an easy thing to do. It's pretty inexpensive.
Yeah.
When I was a farmer in Saskatchewan, I had a tractor. Lead gasoline.
Hmm.
The exhaust is right in front of me. I'm breathing it
Yeah.
in. I'm growing organic vegetables. I'm breathing in lead all the time.
Yeah,
So when I finally moved to Florida, I took the EDTA therapy.
you did. Okay. All right. And that was then you found, did you notice anything?
Yeah, it was better
Yeah.
for me.
Nice.
So.
Well
And
done.
there's a guy, Kevin Drum.
Yeah.
He writes for Mother Jones magazine. Kevin Drum.
Yeah.
He wrote an article, a whole series of articles. One of them was called "Lead: America's Real Criminal Element."
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's something
It's
I'd
a
like
good
to
story.
read. Yeah.
A really good story.
Yeah. I never heard that before, and so
And the
yeah.
fact that people don't know about this, it's not right.
Yeah.
People are suffering every day. You know, Black Lives Matter. Yeah, I know, but you just say Black Lives Matter, you're not getting to the root of the problem.
Yeah.
One of the roots of the problem is that we've poisoned people. We got to get the poison out of their body, simple EDTA therapy, and clean up the physical environment.
Yeah.
And you're going to see racial relations improve. You're going to see black people not killing black people in the inner cities.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everything else is secondary. You want to get to primary causes.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Dr. Harvey, I really appreciate your time today. I think these topics that we touched upon really are key. It's not something that you would normally hear.
Yeah.
And I think we're starting to see some things coming through, like you shared what Bobby Kennedy was sharing, some of these breakthroughs that are coming through. I think, yeah, so I know we're going to probably do more interviews because this is a topic that I'm interested in. I'm sure a lot of followers out there are interested in. Is there any other final thing you want to share with the audience?
Yeah, well, there are 7 pillars of health. So clean air,
Clean air.
clean water, clean food, clean electromagnetic field.
Mm.
So when you're sleeping, you don't want a clock radio next to you. You don't want any electrical device next to you putting out an electromagnetic field. The Earth has an electromagnetic field from the ground to the edge of the ionosphere, about 60 miles out. There's a continuous wave going around the world.
Yeah.
Pulsing at 7.83 times a second, or 7.83 hertz.
Hurts.
That's called the Schumann wave. That's the natural hum of the planet. 60 cycles per second is not the natural hum of the planet. Your body wasn't designed with a 60 cycle frequency buzzing at you all the time, or in your cell phone all the time, next to your ear. So you want to have healthy energy around you. So you want to sleep at least 8 hours a night without adverse electrical frequencies exposing to you. I'm not a big fan of the 5G towers and neighborhoods beaming out. And another aspect of health, another pillar of health, is adequate exercise.
Yeah.
It's good to walk and good to swim, good to lift weights, whatever. You know, it's good to have exercise, dance. Dance is great. Yeah. And probably the biggest one of all is peace of mind.
Peace of mind. Okay.
So when you meditate or pray, you drop your brain frequencies. Your brain normally is functioning in a beta wavelength. Beta waves are what's in your consciousness when you're functioning in the world, need to be acute, need to watch out for elephants charging, whatever. But then when you relax a little bit, you go down to alpha waves. And when you get deeper, you get down into theta waves. Now you're really chilled out. You get there with meditation. Or then you can drop even deeper down into delta waves. And then you can like activate your pineal gland to start releasing DMT, which is a chemical, dimethyltryptamine, which can give you great psychic awarenesses. So meditation can get you into a state of mind where you improve your intuition, so you realize, I probably shouldn't be eating this.
Yeah.
You know, I probably shouldn't be putting this phone next to my head 5 hours a day. Or I probably shouldn't be yelling at somebody, you know.
Yeah. So you become more self-aware.
I become more self-aware.
And all those other things that you talked about which are so important, you yourself start to question because you're now more self-aware.
And then you get to a point where you realize, I'm going to die. We all die. Everybody dies. Does this mean, I should be afraid of that? Should I be afraid of the end of life? No, because my first Japanese teacher said to me, I asked him a question, because I'd been thinking about this since I was 8 years old. What's at the end of the universe? Who made God? What happened before God was made? Blah, blah, blah. He said, these are questions that are really representative of the mental illness of the West. The West thinks there was a beginning and that there's an end to anything.
Yeah.
There's no beginning or end to anything.
That, yeah.
It's all a state of transformation. So we're in a physical body, but then we move into our spiritual bodies. And then we may move back into a physical body, but the human soul is immortal. It goes on forever. And when you know that, then you feel more comfortable, you're not so afraid, and you can live a much happier life. So if you recognize the human soul as immortal, you're going to behave differently, hopefully better, and love each other better. And the love frequency is really the healing frequency.
Nice.
So when Jesus says, love thy neighbor as thyself, that's the best medicine. So.
Beautiful. Well, Dr. Harvey, thank you so much for your time today. This is beautiful wisdom that you shared.
Okay.
I really appreciate this, and we'll have you back on again.
I look forward to it.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.